Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Canto 6, Chapter 9, text number 55. 6.9.55. Ready? Tasmin vinihate yuyam tejostraya ayuda sampada Bhuya prapsyata badram vo nahimsati cha matparam tasmin vinihate yuyam tejostrayuda sampada Bhuya prapsyata badram vo Nahim santati cha matparan Tasmin vinihate yuyam Tejostrayuda sampada Bhuya prapsyata badram vo Nahim santi cha matparam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. When Vritrasura is killed because of my spiritual strength, you will regain your strength, weapons and wealth. Thus there will be all good fortune for all of you. Although Vritrasura can destroy all the three worlds, do not fear that he will harm you. He is also a devotee and will never be envious of you. Purport. A devotee of the Lord is never envious of anyone. What to speak of other devotees? As revealed later, Vritrasura was also a devotee. Therefore, he was not expected to be envious of the demigods. Indeed, of his own accord, he would try to benefit the demigods. A devotee does not hesitate to give up his own body for a better cause. Chanakya Pandit said, San nimitte varam tyago vinashe niyate sati. After all one's material possessions, including his body, will be destroyed in due course of time. Therefore, if the body and other possessions can be utilized for a better cause, a devotee never hesitates to give up even his own body. Because Lord Vishnu wanted to save the demigods, Vritrasura, even though able to swallow the three worlds, would agree to be killed by the demigods. For a devotee, there is no difference between living and dying, because in this life, a devotee engages in devotional service, and after giving up his body, he engages in the same service in the spiritual world. His devotional service is never hindered. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinu. Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, and I seek blessings of all of you so that I can speak for my own purification and for Lord's glorification. So, Srimad Bhagavatam contains many episodes, many sections which are extremely deep and give us a completely different idea of what a true religion is, what it means by pure devotion, what it means by actually it completely shatters the stereotype understanding of what is dharma, what is Lord's protection, and what it means by a devotee, right? So we all many times have our own understanding of this means Lord's protection, this means Lord's, this means Lord is not protected us, this means Lord protected us, and this is what devotee should be, this is what devotee shouldn't be, and this is what actually dharma means. So we all have our conceptions, and Bhagavatam is so deep. In the very beginning itself, Bhagavatam self-proclaims, it proclaims itself that, Dharma projita kaitavota dharamam nirmatsaranam satam. So in the very beginning itself, Bhagavatam establishes that all kaitava dharmas and all substandard religions, all substandard principles that are sometimes highlighted in other scriptures, Bhagavatam kicks it off in the very beginning itself, So this episode is one such episode where we get to see much deeper understanding of what Lord protection is, much deeper understanding of what it means by a devotee, many things like this. If you see this episode, the whole episode, the section of this Vritrasur and Indra offending the Brihaspati, the series of 4-5 chapters, these are very relevant. Of course, everything is relevant, but these sections are very relevant for us because the conflict, Bhagavatam actually is a case study of so many conflicts, and how a devotee rises in the conflict situation and takes shelter of the higher principles. And these sections like Prithu Maharaj, Indra, and these sections like, this Vritrasur and Indra, all these sections, they are even more relevant for all of us, especially in this time and age, because we are not dealing with a case study where the discussion is between a devotee and a demon. The discussion is between a devotee and a devotee, actually. Of course, Vritrasura is the body of a demon, but actually he is a devotee, So the case study is a conflict between, especially when the conflict is between a devotee and devotee, it becomes even more interesting. It becomes even more deep, right? See, there are 3 categories of devotees in a broad sense, right? There's something called Sakama devotees. Like Krishna is telling here, Vishnu is telling, my dear Indra, don't be worried, because Vritrasura is also a devotee. So, demigods are devotees, Vritrasura is also a devotee. But are they all in the same bucket? They are not in the same bucket. So, there are 3 categories of devotees in the broader sense. One thing is Sakama devotees. Sakama devotees are the demigods, where they are surrendered to the Lord, they serve the Lord, but then they also expect reciprocation from the Lord the way they want. And also, they also expect some karma mishra bhaktas in sorts. That means they expect some fruitive results out of their service to the Lord, actually. And that is their expectation, actually. They are Sakama devotees. There are devotees, of course. And then there are Akama devotees. The devotees who just love the Lord and who are completely dependent on the Lord, and they do not expect anything in return for Lord's service. Of course, they can also ask for Lord's protection, but their asking for Lord's protection is not with an expectation that because I did devotional service, so Lord is bound to protect me. That's not the understanding, Like we see, Draupadi also asked for Lord's protection, but the understanding is not that because I rendered devotional service, Lord is bound to protect me, or it is the duty of the Lord to protect me because I am His devotee. No. The service, the bhakti that we perform is out of a sense of love, out of a sense of duty. Of course, it's love. Duty is one step below love. And to serve the Lord, they may ask for protection. They are Akama devotees. Prahlad is an example. And there are 3rd category of devotees, Vrajavasis. They not just not ask for any material reciprocation, but rather they are willing to suffer unlimitedly to give pleasure to give a momentary pleasure to the Lord. That's Vrajavasis, which is kind of out of our syllabus for now. So here we are discussing a case study of a Sakama versus Akama devotee, this section, what we are dealing now. And we'll see how is it a case study between Sakama and Akama devotee, and it's very interesting. We will see this chapter. We have come to the last shloka, and if we little bit go deep and try to analyze what's happening here. So Indra, this whole section is nothing but a case study of Indra offending gurus. First, Indra offended his guru Brihaspati by disrespecting him, not even ignoring. Ignoring is out of disrespect. Next, Indra offended his second guru Vishwarupa by killing him. Right? And third thing, Indra offended another guru, Vritarasura is also his guru only. Vritarasura taught him Shuddha Bhakti Chatushloki Bhagavatam. This time he also killed him actually. So this is the whole episode of Indra offending. And we think about, so it's very obvious who is at fault here. Am I too loud? Then reduce there, Okay, I am speaking fast. So if you think about it, who is at fault here, So Indra has made mistakes. Okay, he may be a demigod, but Indra has made mistakes. And what is that we expect, So, but we see here, Lord is taking the side of Indra, and Lord is doing all that he can do to protect Indra and to reinstate him in his position. Yesterday I was giving Bhagavad Gita class, and there is a shloka about Guhyatamam. Guhyatamam, why this knowledge is most confidential? So the answer was because the chapter number 9 of Bhagavad Gita, it extols the inner sanctum of the Lord, the inner heart of the Lord actually. Lord's feelings. The glories of Bhakti will be spoken in all 6 chapters. But what Lord's disposition towards his devotees, what is inside the Lord's heart, is something only Lord can answer actually. And that is mentioned in 9th chapter. And I explained that how Krishna speaks there, that Kaunteya pratijana hiname bhaktya pranashyati. So I spoke that in the class. Then one person asked me, Prabhuji, then Lord is not partial to devotees. That means devotee can make all mistakes and still keep Lord's protecting, Immediately somebody asked this question actually. I said, listen, when I say Krishna says my devotee, that means not a devotee who is a, kya bolta hai na? Avakasavadi. He is not an opportunist. Krishna is not talking of an opportunist. Krishna is talking of a devotee. Devotee means one who works for Lord's pleasure. And even if they accidentally make mistakes, then Lord says that I will ignore it. I will protect him, So read the purport. So here if you see, Indra is making mistake after mistake. But still Lord is, apparently if you see, Lord is making a plan. Chalo, abhi Vritarasura ko marna hai. Kaise marenge, Vritarasura is a devotee, and Vritarasura is in one sense like, he is doing his duty dharma, and Indra failed to do his dharmas, because of which the whole complication came, because Indra failed in his duties, and still we see the Lord is kind of supporting Indra, and what not he is doing. To protect somebody who has made a mistake, he is asking one pure devotee, tum apna sharir tyag do. Kaun hai? Dadichi. See, Dadichi is also kind of his guru, because Dadichi also taught to Ashwini Kumaras, Ashwasira. So, ek galati aadmi ko extend, and what I'm saying is that to protect somebody who is at fault, a defaulter, Lord is asking some pure devotee to give up his body. तुम अपना शरीर त्याग दो. And then they are again making a discussion, making an action plan to kill another pure devotee. All this for what purpose? To protect somebody who is a Sakama Bhakta, who is clearly at fault here. How to understand this actually? That's why Bhishma says, it says in that That's Bhishma section, passing away of Bhishma, the 9th chapter, you know. He says, Nahi yasya karhichid rajan puman veda vidushitam yat vijnasayo yukta muhyanti kavayopihi. He says that, my dear, he speaks this in relation to the Pandavas. When the Pandavas came there, when Bhishma Pitamaha sees the Pandavas, you know, there are mixed feelings actually. The first feeling is that he is extremely happy because his lifelong desire to see Pandavas on the throne and to see them in a royal attire, that's fulfilled. Because Krishna asked Pandavas to dress in a royal dress. In general, for dead bodies, we don't go in a blazer and in a silk sarees, you know. We go in a simple dress, white dress. You see, all the Bollywood film stars, celebrities also, when they go to some funeral, they all wear white and white. But here Krishna is asking Pandavas to wear, you know, super duper, you know, opulent dresses and with the mukuts. So Bhishma is happy because that's his desire to see the Pandavas, ruling the Pandavas in a royal attire, you know. And same time he felt sorry because the moment he saw Pandavas, he could recollect all the struggles and all the injustices they faced. And so they don't deserve to be facing those things. On a, if you talk of the, you know, dharma rakshita rakshita, on that principle, the Pandavas don't deserve to face all those things, you know. He speaks this shloka, what is that shloka he says, you know? Aho Krishna aho nyayam yadyam devamandana. Not the shlokam, the next shloka he speaks actually. Yasya dharma suto rajan yasya partha dhanurtara krishnechi gandevam chaipam. Yeah, he says gadapani vrukodara. Yeah, there's a Yudhishthira Maharaj, dharma sutta, you know, is the dharma personified. Bhima is the strongest and Arjuna is also all virtue, and along with all these things they are personally accompanied by the Lord, and who is the, you know, husband of Raja Lakshmi, Vijay Lakshmi, all such things. How could such sufferings and unfortune can happen to them, you know? How to understand, if you talk of the so-called logic, how to understand this, you know? Somebody may lose faith actually, you know. Somebody doesn't read the entire Mahabharata, in between they read, they think that chalo ye acha hai. But Bhishma says that it's difficult to understand, he says, you know. Lord has a plan, some plans can't be understood. Some you can understand. We can understand till the time he revealed to us. But if you try to use your logic and how this and all, he says, Nahi yasya karhichit rajan, you know. My dear Yudhishthir, nobody can understand the Lord's action plans fully. And there are so many people who try to interpret and logic and all, and what happened? Muhyanti kavyopi, they are all bewildered. We see the classic example of Dhritarashtra himself. Dhritarashtra, at one point, actually, he was even, you know, they were trying to always warn him, you know, Sanjaya and Vidura, they all tried to warn him actually. But then, Dhritarashtra knows, see, Duryodhana doesn't even accept Krishna as Supreme Lord. But Dhritarashtra, he knows Krishna as Supreme Lord actually. And still, how could he pit his children against, you know, an army supported by Krishna, you know. And Dhritarashtra uses his logic. One of the logic he uses is that, you know, see, Krishna is there. Still he could not protect, you know, Abhimanyu. That means Kala is more powerful than Daiva. That's the logic Dhritarashtra gives actually. Kala means power of time, you know. Kala is more powerful than Daiva. So maybe by the same power of Kala, tomorrow my children also may be victorious. Even if Krishna is God, you know. So that's the logic, you know. Stupid logic that Dhritarashtra uses actually. So if you try to just use logic always, then you may sometimes get, you know, bewildered, you know. So Prabhupada also says that small intelligence cannot understand this, you know. Anyhow, so in this example now let us try to analyze, you know. I am speaking this based on not my own logic, what I heard from my, because when I heard this section, maybe some 10-15 years before, you know, first time, that time itself I got thrilled by this section, you know. So I am very happy that I am going to speak on this section actually. And you see, first thing, Krishna is not out and out supporting demigods. It takes one to know one, right? On the upfront, if you see, Krishna is partial and supporting demigods, you know. Think about this. First thing, Krishna is asking Pandava, so this demigods, he is asking them, go to, okay, sorry, this is shloka number 55, right? 53 and 54 doesn't have purports. I will just read the translation. So 53 translation is like this. He says, Dadyanchas, that means Dadichi. Dadyancha's invincible protective covering, known as Narayana Kavacha, was given to Tvashta, who delivered it to his son Vishwarupa, from whom you have received it. Because of this Narayana Kavacha, Dadichi's body is now very strong. You should therefore beg him for his body. And then next shloka number 54. When the Ashwini Kumaras beg for Dadancha's body on your behalf, you will surely give it because of affection. Do not doubt this, for Dadanchas is very experienced in religious understanding. When Dadyancha awards you his body, Vishwakarma will prepare a thunderbolt from his bones. This thunderbolt will certainly kill Vritrasur because it will be invested with my power. So this is the action plan that Krishna is sharing with to Indra. So if you see what Krishna is doing, first thing is asking Indra to go to Dadichi. Why Dadichi? Krishna wanted to help. He could have directly given him some power, or there are many ways he could have done it. He doesn't have to do it this way. But why he did it this way, there is a reason behind that. See, Dadichi and Indra, they have a history. A flashback background. So Indra didn't wanted Dadichi to give. Actually, Dadichi is a very self-realized person and is actually himself a spiritual master. So the Ashwini Kumaras wanted to learn some knowledge, and Indra didn't wanted Dadichi to explain that. And Dadichi, being a Brahmana, he couldn't refuse. And Indra even warns him actually that if you do that, I will chop off your head. And when Ashwini Kumaras come, Dadichi is ready and he tells that this is what is going to happen if you do it. Then Ashwini Kumaras, what they do, they actually replace Dadichi's head with a horse head and keep his head separate. And Dadichi gives that knowledge with that horse head to Ashwini Kumaras. That's why that knowledge is called as Ashvasera. And later on when Indra comes, he chops off the head of Dadichi. That is actually the horse head. And later on Ashwini Kumaras, being the master of all doctors, they replace Dadichi's body with the original head actually. Right? So in that sense, there is a kind of an animosity between Dadichi and Indra. Of course, Dadichi doesn't have it in his heart because being a pure soul. But Indra had a history and an animosity and a conflict. And Krishna knows this very well. So Krishna always touches that points actually. He knows, expert doctor. They know when there is a pain, particularly at a particular note, they press it. That way it gets cured. So in the case of Indra, he knows. Indra has a egoistic clash with Dadichi. So when Indra goes there to ask help, first thing what Krishna did, go to Dadichi. Ask him help. If somebody asks us like this, okay, we'll go and ask. Because we don't have any of these things actually. But those days, that Abhiman is a very big thing, You see, the other day we are hearing Duryodhana's episode. Duryodhana was doing all hook and crook, to usurp the kingdom of Pandavas. But when Krishna asked Arjuna, go and ask for those weapons, those the 5 arrows. When Arjuna goes, I want to ask for a favor. You have asked me, you have given me you have promised me that whenever I will ask for some help, you will not say no, Now I am going to ask you for an help. Duryodhana said, you are asking me help. So his ego is so much this thing. Bolo, kya chahiye? You want kingdom? I'll give you entire kingdom. He is doing the entire world war for a kingdom and doing all the plans, all nonsense for the kingdom. But he's telling, if you ask me, if you beg from me, I'll give you the kingdom also. Because it's not easy for a Kshatriya to come and beg for something actually, So Arjuna comes for that help, ask for help. And Duryodhana is ready to give the entire kingdom only. Jiske liye lifelong plan making business, he is ready to give that. At least because he may lose the kingdom, but his ego is like, feasting, That is the level of, so we are talking of people of that category. So you may think, Prabhuji, इसमें क्या बड़े purification है इंद्रा को? हाँ, हमको लगता नहीं कि this is a purification because we are such a shameless people actually, हाँ, हम गाली देते हैं किसी को, next day you need help, you'll go to him for ask for help. So but we are talking of these souls who are at a different level, and he's telling Krishna, go to ask Dadichi. Prabhu, kuch bhi bolo, don't ask me to go to Dadichi. Anything else I will do. I may even stay without heaven, but I don't want to go to Dadichi. No, go to Dadichi, no? And ask him not for small favor. Kya hai? Tumhara body de do mere ko. Give me your body. So that itself is a big, huge blow to Indra's ego actually, you know. So Krishna asks Dadichi, go, you know, Indra, go and ask from Dadichi himself, for the person whom you try to kill. That person will ask, begging, give me your body. So Indra has to do that. So Krishna is purifying, you know. His ways of purifying is different for different people. Now, next question may be asked, why did Krishna, you know, want somebody to sacrifice his body? Why Dadichi has to undergo the pain? Like the next chapter, the first few shlokas, Dadichi explains, do you know what you are asking? You are asking me my body. The body is most dear to anyone. And how can I endure all the pain for you, you know? I mean, he just kind of tells us, you know. So what Krishna is asking in one sense, Dadichi, you give your body, sacrifice your body. It appears unreasonable. Why Krishna is asking a pure devotee to die? Think about it, you know. But actually, so I have thought about this because recently after Bhakti Charu Maharaj's episode also, other day I spoke in the class. One of Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disciple who is close to me, he mentioned that that when Maharaj left his body, you know, that too went for a preaching purpose, you know, having faith on Krishna, and he contracted corona, you know, and he has to give up his body, you know. So apparently in one sense, where is Krishna's protection? And especially when a pure devotee, when he takes risk for Krishna, and apparently there is no protection, then how is it that, what kind of example Krishna is setting? A devotee who took risks for Krishna is not protected. What kind of examples Krishna is setting actually? So this is sometimes, some people got these doubts actually, but then the Prabhupada disciples and all, they have spoken in their these things, you know, that actually what Krishna did to Bhakti Charu Maharaj is actually great. Actually Krishna honored Maharaj actually. Why? See, everybody in this world has to give up his body. Everyone has to give up his body, whether you are a pure devotee or you are a useless person, whomever you are, you know. But the way Maharaj, so he set an example that how a pure devotee doesn't mind risking his life no matter what, you know. And you know, imagine if normally, so many devotees in ISKCON are giving up their bodies. How much do we remember them? We remember someday, and then we have a memorial. Once in a year we remember actually. But then, you know, what Bhakti Charu Maharaj, that departure, so it will be remembered forever. That it will set an example that this is the kind of a devotee ready to risk everything for preaching mission. And Maharaj before leaving also he spoke also, you know, that, you know, even if it means I have to contact, I will go, you know. So certain example that, you know, such a kind of departure which will be remembered forever in the pages of ISKCON actually. That how a devotee is ready to undergo all tribulations and all sufferings for the mission of the Lord actually. So similarly here, Dadichi, ultimately everyone has to lose his body, but Lord, you know, given him an opportunity to use his body for Loka Kalyanam. You know. So for a mundane person, even think that why did Lord is asking somebody to give up his body? That to somebody who is a devotee. Lord is using him. That may be mundane outset, you know. But, you know, one who is deep understands actually it is a glorious opportunity Lord is giving Dadichi, that, you know, for him to give up his body for mission of the Lord actually. It's not necessarily that, you know, that way only it has to happen. If Dadichi doesn't give also, Lord can always make it done, you know. Right? It's not that if Arjuna doesn't fight, you know, that Kurukshetra will not be won. It's not that Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't speak lie, that Drona will not be will go undefeated. It's not like that. But Lord, by making those things, making those people do those things, he has extolled the glories, you know. Right? By making the Yudhishthira to speak lie. Arey, for the kingdom, for the wife, for the family, for his own life, for everything, he was not ready to speak a lie. Such is the level of, you know, he was worshipping that principle of, you know, truthfulness. He was regarding that principle as the highest thing, but Lord making the highest thing for which you are ready to die million times, for which you are ready to give up your family, such a thing, Lord is asking merely, oh, chod do. So that's the principle actually, not that, oh, nahi bolega to nahi ho payega, Lord needs all this help and all. No. So it's a different level altogether. So in this case, Dadichi, that, that it is actually, see, now imagine, if not for that episode, will Dadichi will come in the books of Bhagavatam? Will ever be remembered? No, but even when we talk of Dadichi, we talk of sacrifice. Great person, Lord has made him eternally. See, he has taken the temporary body, but he has given them eternal glory. Dadichi. So we should not see everything with a mundane perspective actually. And pure devotee understand this. That is the reason Dadichi, initially, he kind of, Indra, he tells Indra that, Arey, do you understand? Mata hai kya, do you know what you are asking? You are asking to give the body. Body is most dear to anyone. To asking me, and you are to protect your body, you are asking my body. तो अपना शरीर का आनंद के लिए मेरा शरीर को दुख पहुंचाना चाहता है, ये क्या लॉजिक है? What kind of demigod you are, So like this, but still Dadichi says, fine, Lord is asking me, I will give, right? So because pure devotee understand that whatever Lord desires, for him that is actually an honor given by the Lord, the Lord is using his body, right? This is one thing. The next coming to, why did Vishnu supported actually Indra here? So that is a thing that we need to discuss. First thing we have seen that how Lord actually, in a sense, purified Indra also. Now we will understand that there are, Krishna speaks in Bhagavatam, Akama sarva kamova, moksha kamava udarati, tivrena bhakti yogyana, yajetam purusham param. That this Akama devotees or Akama devotees we discussed, Sakama devotees. That means like the demigods and all. Whatever you are, whether you are a mixed devotee, whether you are pure devotee, whether you are a moksha desiring devotee, whether you are, whatever you are, you come to me and I will give shelter. So Lord has his own ways of giving shelter to one and all, So on the upfront, Lord has given shelter to Indra, because Lord is taking care of Indra's concerns, Lord is hearing him, making a plan. But now, now why Lord actually, first of all, the demigods, they were given their due punishment actually, we will see that, we will see in subsequently also, right? And but still Lord has supported them, the demigods, because the demigods are also devotees and they are assisting in Lord's mission, right? In the universal management. So for the dharma to maintain, the demigods has to be in power. Even if they have made a mistake, there is a way to deal with the mistake, but then they have to be in power, and the power cannot go to the demons who are on the side of adharma, right? And who are against the wishes of the Lord actually. That means they are, so managerially, if you think about it, the demigods have to be on the throne, and naturally Lord ensured that, that Indra is on the throne actually. But on the other side of the person, like Vritrasura, if you talk of Vritrasura, why Vritrasura in the first place? Why did he fight with Indra in the first place? That we will see towards the end. But for now the Lord has spoken, that already Lord has clarified here itself that Vritrasura is a pure devotee. Indra may not know that Vritrasura is a pure devotee, but Lord knows Vritrasura is a pure devotee. So although there is a pure devotee on the other side, why still Lord kind of extent supported Indra? Because actually Lord has given both of them their due place. Because Sakama devotees, what they ask from the Lord is some material benefits. And Akama devotees, they are happy just to be the service of the Lord. And sometimes when the Lord has to solve that kind of conflict, on the material front, Lord supports the Sakama devotees. We see the example of Prithu and Indra also, So Indra is become fearful that Prithu may become Indra and may become more famous than me. So Indra wants to maintain that in a fame, post position. Prithu wanted service. So Lord took care of both. On the material front, Indra was supported actually, right? And because of it, Indra was maintaining his that position, post and everything, and he is happy. And for him, that is needed to serve the Lord. For Indra, that post, position, that fame is needed to serve the Lord, because otherwise he won't be. So Lord has taken care of that. And for Prithu, that's not a necessary. For a pure devotee, that's not a necessary. For him, the opportunity to serve itself is sufficient. And Lord has asked him to compromise. But in the process, what happened to Prithu? It is said in the Bhagavatam, by sacrificing the 100th sacrifice. Actually, it is said that that Lord is more pleased with Prithu for sacrificing his 100th sacrifice than all the 99 sacrifices. Lord is more pleased with Prithu for sacrificing the 100th sacrifice than performing all the 99 sacrifices actually. And the result, when Lord is pleased, what is the result? All auspiciousness. And what happened to Prithu? Prithu become eternally famous. Indra is only famous for that time, that person. Indra is a post, only for one, how much time, वो ब्रह्मा का एक डे में ही इतना बहुत इंद्रा चेंज हो जाता है, right? So in every Manu, Indra comes and also it's like, in one day of Brahma itself, there are 14 Manus, so the 14 Indras will be there. So Indras is very, that fame of Indra is very minimal, but Prithu's fame become eternal actually, right? So Prithu also, even on a spiritual platform, Prithu got eternal, of course, pure devotion and the eternal fame actually. And anyhow, devotee is interested in the spiritual success. Right? So in this case, externally Indra was supported, but that's a material support. And Indra wanted that, and Lord also material for managerial purpose, he has given that. And for Vritrasur, he was given, entry into the spiritual world actually. Right? So there's something called material victory and something called spiritual victory. We should not be confusing this. Some people, even amongst devotees, sometimes when there is a clash, some people are, clashing for material purpose, and apparently they may be successful, and somebody will say, how they are successful, they are wanting that material thing for service to happen. Lord may allow that. Other person on the spiritual platform, Lord may give spiritual success, Externally, even managerially, they are not on the victorious side, but they will make the spiritual advancement, and they will go very deep in their spiritual life, which is actually what that devotee anyhow wanted. So Lord has given both people what they wanted actually, right? Srila Prabhupada, if you see in the episode Tamal Krishna Maharaj versus the temple presidents, that time there is a conflict, all the presidents complain on Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj is doing for what Prabhupada wanted only, But there is a conflict, the conflict is not between a devotee and a demon. The conflict is between devotee and devotee only. And Prabhupada asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, okay, you give it up. For something which Tamal Krishna Maharaj has given his life for, Prabhupada ne bola ki chhod do usko. Right? Of course, we are not saying here, Mishrama and pure, but whatever it is, irrespective of what the feelings and all. So, Prabhupada asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj to compromise, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, because that's an exam for Tamal Krishna Maharaj actually. The enthusiasm of it, how do we know whether we are really serving Krishna or we are serving with our own name fame also? How do we understand? The litmus test. The litmus test is when we are asked to give up. When you are doing the service, you may not know. बोल छोड़ दो, तब तुम्हारा असली रंग पता चल जाएगा. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj has asked me, Prabhupada, छोड़ दो. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj became glorious by giving up the service. And Prabhupada asked him to go to China. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj could do what nobody could do before, That's because of Prabhupada's empowerment actually. So apparently the other party won. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked to compromise, but actually, Tamal Krishna Maharaj also, ultimately what he wanted is Prabhupada's pleasure. He got what he wanted. So we should not be sometimes carried in life, Even in ISKCON, sometimes managerially things may not apparently happening the right and wrong, but there is a deeper level we need to go and see that there is a plan behind everything, And Lord, for sure, is in control. And Prabhupada mentioned that ISKCON is personally supervised by the Lord, So for sure, Lord is in control, and we all have to do our parts. And beyond a point, we should understand Lord has a master plan, and we all have to surrender. And sometimes that master plan, we may know it also. We go to some senior devotee, they will help us understand why this is happening. Sometimes we may not get that answer, But still, we understand that, that when Krishna wants to reveal why this is happening, it will be revealed. And that revelation may come immediately or sometime or may not come at all, But then we have to stay true to the principles. We should not, just because sometimes that principle didn't apparently act, doesn't mean that, we lose faith on the principle actually. Then what is the use of we being a devotee? Her Grace Premanjari Mataji, she quoted this example, this story with me. Many times she spoke. She said that when in Calcutta episode, when there was a Ritviks before, so His Grace Dayaram Prabhu was asked by the all the Prabhupada disciples to take charge. So he was fighting Bangalore, Calcutta. It was a great struggle actually, so much struggle. And he thought, let me focus on Calcutta first, then I'll take care of Bangalore. So in the process, he did whatever he could do, And somehow he took charge of Calcutta and dethroned the earlier president and took the Mayapur brahmacharis, kept them in the temple, and he was taking charge. But then they used their police force, whatever, all that stuff, and politicals and all. And they all came, they attacked the devotees, they dragged Dayaram Prabhu, they tore his clothes in the temple hall itself, took him to the jail. And it came in the press, it got bad, ISKCON got a bad name. And some of the so-called leaders themselves asked, why did you took over the temple in that way? Because of you, ISKCON got a bad name, And we are doing the, all the, scavenger job, So doing all this kind of discussion is like, chaprasi job. Nobody likes to do these things. You did all that stuff, and in the process you went to jail in front of everyone. And later on they were questioned that because of ISKCON got a bad name, Now, again the temple was taken over by the Ritiks, and again there was so much struggle actually. So later on, Tamal Krishna Maharaj visited when Prabhu came on bail, and then Mata, they both went and talked to Maharaj, and Mataji was weeping, Why, Why for us only, Why so much struggle for us? Here is a person, my husband, who is taking all the struggles of the world on his head and is doing all that. And what is the result? Result is that, one thing, apparently, they were not successful at that time. And even, the leaders were also kind of not able to understand. So why so much misery and pain for us? Why Krishna is testing us so much? For all that sincerity we are showing, better I could have remained silent. Why this? Why me? Many times we get the question, why me, To which Maharaj answered just in one line, he said, you will get the answer to all these questions. You will get answer to all these questions the day. You will get answer to all these questions the day there will be 100 devotees dancing in Guru Puja in this same temple hall for which your husband is fighting, struggling now today, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. So like this he said. And then that was spoken way back in 2002, 2003, And this after 10 years, finally, when, that day the brahmacharis, so many brahmacharis dancing in Guru Puja, Mataji came, and then Dayarampu, they were there. And she saw hundreds of brahmacharis are dancing in the temple hall. And later on, I was just serving Prabhu, she was there, and she told me, then she told me this episode. Today when I am seeing hundreds of brahmacharis are dancing in temple hall, white and saffron, I am remembering the answer given by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He said, you will get the answer to all your questions that day. This temple will be filled with the brahmacharis and dancing, So today I could see, today I could see that hundreds of devotees, all, such a wonderful, intelligent devotees, they are giving their lives. And all this could happen because there was somebody who took the struggles, who took the pains, apparently with no success. But still, he stayed true to the principle. And that is the price he has to pay for seeing the result today. So you're asking, why me? That's actually the price you have to pay to see what has happened today. And when Radha Govind is seeing hundreds of brahmacharis are dancing, naturally there will be a smile, And that's for the smile, that's the price you have to pay for the smile on the deity's face actually, which is what he has paid, At that time, sometimes we may not see the future, and sometimes we may see immediately, and we may see that, maybe, this doesn't work out, this humility doesn't work out, or this missionary doesn't work out. Better, मैं अपना खुद का काम करूँगा, छोड़ दो, मेरे को सब नहीं ज़रूरत नहीं है. Because so sometimes we may get discouraged. But Lord has a plan, and for sure Lord will take care of everyone. Lord accommodates everyone, Lord will take care of everyone actually. Apparently Indra got what he wanted. But Krishna made sure he has given Vritrasur what he deserved also. Vritrasur, even when his body is there only, he has gone back to Godhead actually. Even before Indra chopped his head, we will see later. It's not that Indra ne Vritrasur ka sir kaat diya, uske baad Vritrasur Bhagwan dham gaye. Actually, Vritrasur going to Samadhi, and his body, his Atma, goes to Supreme Lord. And then Indra tries to, actually his body is already dead body, but then Indra chops off his head, So materially Indra may be victorious, but spiritually Krishna, has given both parties what they wanted, and in the process Krishna also purified the demigods, And now, so that's the Lord, So Lord will make sometimes, so essentially what I'm trying to say is that apparently sometimes, we may not sometimes get justice and sometimes may happen, but that may be needed for the administration to go on, but still Lord will make sure other party also get to know what they are desiring, Lord will make sure He gives that actually. That's the reason Lord says, Akama Sarvaka Moksha Kamava. Right? Sarvakama also Lord will take care, Akama He will take care, Moksha Kama will take care. And we can't do that. Only Krishna can do that actually. We can't even satisfy two people, Prabhupada bolte hai, why Krishna thousands of wives, Prabhupada said, that proves Krishna is God, How can God have thousands of wives, That is a question asked by one person to Prabhupada. How God can have thousands of wives, Prabhupada says, that is why He is God, He can have thousands of wives and still He can satisfy. Can you satisfy two wives? One wife? So, we can't handle actually, You have your mother and your wife, Same time, Vatsalya Rasa and Madhurya Rasa, you can't handle. Krishna can handle. He just plays flute and all the rasas, everyone parallelly, he reciprocates actually. Sambar and Shanta, Krishna reciprocates, Sambar and Dasya reciprocates, Right? Mallana, Masanam, we see that. But for us, imagine there is a Sankranti, and you got a good saree, First wife ko dena hai, patni ko dena hai, or mother ko dena hai. Wife ko Madhurya Rasa ko priority diya to Vatsalya Rasa mein band baj jata hai. Vatsalya Rasa ko finally karne se Madhurya mein band baj jata hai humko. So, even one wife, two wives matlab chhod do, So that's our capacity, but Lord can do that actually. Lord can do that. He is different altogether. So to try to understand Lord's the justice factor using our mind's small intelligence, sometimes we make it bewildered actually. And we are now come to the conclusion to Vritrasur episode also. How, so Vritrasur in the body of demon, but actually nothing material can stop bhakti actually. So, but he is a pure devotee in the body of a demon, And one may ask, I mean, for years together when I was reading Bhagavatam, I was having this doubt. Why did Vritrasur, we later in the next section we will see Indra, how Vritrasur is a pure devotee, And Indra also understands. And Vritrasur, when he tells, Arey Indra, pick up that weapon. Why I myself not doubting, why you are doubting, Lord told this weapon is infused with the Shakti of the Lord, and this will kill me. He told, he has given certification, and why you are doubting that? Why you are getting discouraged, Indra bolte, Arey, ye to Rakshas hai, inko mere se bhi zyada shraddha hai. He has more faith on Lord's protection than me. ये तो मामूली व्यक्ति नहीं है, And later on he speaks of Chatushlok, come on, kill me. I was somehow not able to understand. Vritrasur पागल है क्या, वो बोल रहा है मुझे मार डालो, kill me, but same time he is fighting also with Indra actually. How both things happen simultaneously? So that's the thing, So Vritrasur, so now how to understand this episode of Vritrasur? Why is in the first, if he is a pure devotee, why he is fighting with demigods first place? Does he not understand that much? That Indra is ultimately will be favored by the Lord. He has been favored by the Lord many times, and Indra is working for the Lord. Maybe he has some side income also, but is working for the Lord. So why am I disturbing? Why am I disturbing Indra actually? So again, for this to understand, we need to see from different perspective that Vritrasur appeared. The whole purpose of his incarnation, his appearance, is what? Is to fight with Indra. That is the reason for which he was appeared. That means now nothing will happen without Lord's desire. So that means Lord asked him to play that role where he has to fight with Indra actually. Right? That's why Lord has sent that soul in Vritrasur's body, the soul of Chitraketu. Chitraketu's soul was sent in Vritrasur's body as Vritrasur. That means Lord has only arranged Karmana Deva Netrena, That means Bhagavan ne unko aisa role diya hai ki you will be going to be die, you will be going to be loser. But Krishna, I am a pure devotee, give me a pure devotee's character so that I can give some lecture, No, you be the character of a demon. Krishna will be killed. Mar jao. So fine, Krishna, you want, I will do it. So how to understand Vritrasur? Simply put in simple terms, how to understand Vritrasur is as how we understand Bhishma. How we understand Bhishma? Bhishma is a pure devotee of the Lord, no doubt. But Bhishma fought on the side of Kauravas, of course. On a mundane logic, Bhishma gives the reason, मैंने इनका नमक खाया है, so what can I do? I have to support him. That's the mundane level, what Mahabharata speaks. But the Bhagavatam platform is that Krishna wanted Bhishma to be on the side of Kauravas to set an example. Krishna wanted to set an example that no matter, even if you're as powerful as Bhishma, there's nobody more powerful than Bhishma actually. Even if you're as powerful as Bhishma, if you are on the side of Adharma, you will be vanished. So to set an example, to set a case study of how even the most powerful warrior, somebody who could withstand Parashuram, also will be vanquished by mere mortals if you are on the Adharma eventually. That's one example that Lord wants to set it actually. The Lord has asked him to do that role, and Bhishma had no vision. Krishna, you are giving me such a role, and you are personally there in that pastime, so it will be recorded in Shastra. It will be recorded in Shastra. That means for eternity I will be a villain character. Oh sorry, I am not even villain. Duryodhana is the villain. I am the villain assistant to me. See, sometimes heroes also play villain's role. In Bollywood, sometimes heroes also play villain character. They don't mind villain's character, provided villain has given you enough footage. But villain का rowdies गुंडास में एक गुंडा के character play करने के लिए बोलेगा. Will Amitabh Bachchan play a गुंडा's character? Simple gunda, not even villain character. Nobody plays. But Bhishma is playing a role, not even the opposition's chief. He is a kind of one of the members of the villain's army. Character role, negative character role, But Bhishma is ready, and Bhishma didn't even know. I don't think so. Bhishma knows beforehand. Chalo, when I'm about to die, Krishna will come, and Krishna will tell to the whole world that how Bhishma is a greatest Mahajan, my pure devotee, and mera ko elevation since dega. Bhishma doesn't know. Bhishma is happy to be forever remembered and misunderstood as somebody who is on the side of the opposite party. Krishna didn't clarify beforehand that चलो मैं तुमको बाद में आपको एलिवेशन सीन क्रिएट करूँगा, आपको उठाऊँगा, चिंता मत करो, अभी के लिए आप नेगेटिव कैरेक्टर प्ले करो. कृष्णा बोला तुम एक कैरेक्टर प्ले करो, भीष्मा मैम प्ले करेंगे. दैट्स ए भीष्मा. बट दैट इज डिवोटी हैज़ टू डू व्हाट लॉर्ड वांट्स without expecting anything. But Lord will take care, he will eventually be rewarded. And how Krishna rewarded? Krishna has given Bhishma such kind of final this thing. Nowhere in the history I don't see any character who was given that level of respect, that level of appreciation what Bhishma has received. I have not seen entire Bhagavatam actually. Lord not only personally comes, Lord fulfills all his desires, seeing Pandavas on throne. Lord makes him speak all the dharmas, and Lord himself puts him below Bhishma's level. How? Duryodhana, Yudhishthira Maharaj is crying, I am the cause of this bloodshed, I am the cause of this all war, battle, I am the most fallen soul, just for my enjoyment, so much bloodshed, And Krishna, no, you are not the cause, don't worry, you are not the cause, it has to bound to happen. But Krishna is not able to convince Yudhishthira. तो भगवान परमात्मा है, परमात्मा कन्विंस नहीं कर सकते हैं. Krishna didn't allow himself, Krishna as Bhagavan is speaking, trying to convince, but as Paramatma is not convincing, As Bhagavan is convincing Bhishma, trying to convince Yudhishthira, but same Lord, Krishna as Paramatma, he is not allowing Yudhishthira to be convinced. And the same Krishna as Paramatma, as Bhagavan he took him to Bhishma, and as Paramatma he is allowing Yudhishthira to be convinced by Bhishma's this thing. Bhishma says, you are not the cause of the war, be relaxed. Yudhishthira is immediately peaceful actually. So it is Bhishma who made Yudhishthira say, what Lord himself could not do, he got it done through Bhishma actually. So Lord has fully reciprocated with Bhishma's sacrifice, reciprocated with Bhishma's sincerity. So that's the reason actually a devotee is never a loser, no matter what. Externally time may support, managerially may support, may not support, but then a devotee is never a loser actually. Acharya always speaks. Sometimes I ask, many times Prabhu, this is injustice. He says, there is no word called injustice in spiritual life. I say, okay, there is no word called injustice in spiritual life. Prabhu, but how is this? No, there is no word called injustice. Because it is under supervision of the Lord, he has his own plans. He will purify in between, but make sure he will reward appropriately. So devotee should have this conviction Else what will happen? We may compromise on principles actually. Right? Again, this is हमको इतना लेवल का नहीं मिलेगा, because this is for devotees like Bhishma, devotees like Dhritarashtra and all. Our level is not that level. Maybe we are not in Indra's level, maybe, इंदिरा का बड़े बड़े चीज़ों के लिए शायद एक दो जगह पॉलिटिक्स किया है, हम तो छोटे मोटे चीज़ों के लिए भी है ना कहाँ. So but we also have a hope, right? Krishna will make sure he will accommodate everyone, he will not give up on anyone, and he will also support us while rectifying our mistakes, while correcting our mistakes, right? So by this section what we see, we have seen how Lord is not biased, how Lord is not partial, and how Lord is not unjustified. Lord's actions are not unjustified, we have seen. Rather, Lord has done something which is for the local kalyanam of everyone, and is taken care of every party. He has taken care of Dadichi, he has taken care of Indra, he has taken care of Dhritarashtra also. That's Lord, right? Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.